Years. We're in the mirror. Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Juvia. Your worst nightmare. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is doing my hair first, because I'm going to be applying edge control, and I hate I don't know if I'm the only one that this happens to, but when I apply makeup before my edge control, it tends to smudge and look very white and all that. So I'm doing my hair first, and I'm just going to be brushing it up just to create this very tight, slick ponytail. So like I mentioned earlier, I'll be putting my hair in this sleek high ponytail, and I'll be using this hair tie just to wrap my hair around. So just to make the ponytail very, very sleek, I'm going to be applying the edge control. I know I shouldn't have used the edge control on the hair because it tends to make the hair like have white residues on the hair, but I couldn't find my hair mousse, so I had to settle for the edge control. Next, I'll be applying edge control to my edges, and I'm just going to be sleeking everything out with this edge brush that I found, that I bought. So just to set the edge control, I'm going to be wrapping this scarf around my hair. So this scarf is going to basically set everything and let everything lay in place. So the scarf is going to remain on my hair until I'm done doing my makeup. So now using the Eden Body Works Control Glaze Edge Gel control. And then after that, I'll be using my e.l.f. primer to apply all over my face. Normally I start with my eyes first, but in this case I was so late. Like my friends were already calling me, finding out where I was, so I had to do like get face out of the way, so I had to start with my foundation first. And then the foundation I used is the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, and that's in the shade 334 Warm Sun. So in this video you'll find that I didn't show most of the products I used, and like I said, that was because I was literally running so late, so I had to hurry up as quickly as I could. But I'm just going to put everything I used in the description below. So with this, I was applying the foundation, and what happens is because I was laying my edges and I had to take off the scarf to apply the foundation where it hasn't reached, so it doesn't look like I'm wearing a mask. Also, like I always do, I always go in with my foundation. Like I always go in with my brush first and apply my foundation, and then I use a wet beauty blender to make it look airbrushed. So I go over it with my wet beauty blender. The next step I'll be doing is applying my concealer, basically highlighting the high points of my face. So under my eyes, the bridge of my nose, my forehead, and my jaw, and above my lips. So with this, I will be using the NYX Cosmetics Can't Stop Won't Stop Contour Concealer, and this is in the shade Golden Honey. So again, I'll be blending this out with my wet beauty blender. Next, I'll be using my Kat Von D Lock It setting powder, and this is a translucent shade. So with this, I'll be applying it to the areas that I highlighted, just to avoid the makeup from moving. So this is basically to set it, and with this, I'm going to leave it on for a while. I don't leave it on for too long, maybe highest 2 minutes, just to avoid that white cast all over my face. So if you notice, I tend to put my setting powder, like when I'm going out, I tend to put my setting powder in my smile lines. And the reason why I do this is because, I tend to crease in my smile lines. And how I do it, I'm going to later on make a separate video for this, but I'm just going to give you a summary. How I do this is basically I put the setting powder on it, and then I smile, because that's when the smile lines are more prevalent. I applied setting powder while I'm smiling, and then put some more while my face isn't smiling. So while I was waiting for my face to set, I decided to do my eyebrows, and with this I'm using the Fenty Beauty eyebrow pencil. So now, using the same NYX Cosmetics concealer, I'm going to be using a flat brush just to shape up my eyebrows. So with this, I don't apply concealer to the top of my eyebrows. I don't like that look, because to me, I feel like eyebrows should be natural. So which means, putting it on top makes it too perfect if that makes sense. So I just clean up the bottom of my eyebrows and that's it. So now, using my NYX Cosmetics Jumbo Pencil in Milk, I'm going to be using this as my eye primer. I decided to use this because it's a white base and because I'm going to be doing something, you know, colorful. And yeah, anytime I do something, like anytime I do an eyeshadow look that's colorful, I always like to use a white base because it tends to show up more. So then I use my fingertips to blend out the eye primer, the Jumbo Pencil eye primer. And then I'm going to be setting my eyes with the same translucent powder. I just recently started like using this method where I apply translucent powder to my eyes. So now that I'm done prepping my eye area and done my eyebrows, I'm going to be wiping out the excess powder off of my face just to avoid that white cast. So now for my transition shade, I'm going to be using this shade. I'm going to show you on later. I'm going to be using a shade from the Masquerade Mini palette by Juvia's Place. Yeah, I couldn't show you at the beginning. Like I said, I was literally in a rush. I'm always late for social gatherings, so literally everyone knows who I am and they kept calling me like, are you ready? Are you ready? So yeah, like I was almost about to, like I almost forgot to show the shade I used, and then I remembered at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to be, like I showed you guys, I'm going to be using the first shade as the transition shade, which I already did. And then the second shade, I'm going to be using the second shade to define my crease. So just to give me that more sunken in look, basically creating for myself a fake crease, because I don't really have any to begin with, you know, because I have hooded eyes. So next I'm going to be using a clean brush just to blend out any harsh edges. I never use the same brush to blend out because there's still excess on that brush and I don't want more color on the eyeshadow than I already put on. So I just use a clean brush with nothing on it just to blend out the edges. Okay, so the next step that I'm doing may seem strange, but I learned this trick from Brie Hall because she has hooded eyes like me. She's another YouTuber. So basically, I just dab a little bit of concealer on my eyelid and then I look up. When I look up, the concealer on my eyelid stains my crease. So that helps me basically locate where my crease is, if that makes sense. And then because it stains, I'm able to trace out properly where my crease begins and where it ends. So next I'll be using this eyeshadow shade from the NYX Cosmetics Perfect Filter Shadow Palette. And like I said before, I like applying a lighter shade or a white base to my eyelids or my eyes whenever I'm applying a colorful shade because it tends to show up more. Next, using this shade, this palette from Pixie by Petra, I'm going to be applying the primer spray to my brush because I like my brush wet. When I use this palette, it tends to glow more. The shadows tend to glow more, and I'll be applying this to the lid, basically to the space that I created, the white base. So next, using this eyeliner, I'm going to be creating a wing line. Next, I'll be applying my MAC Cosmetics Studio Fix Foundation Powder, and this is in the shade NW40. So the reason I'm also applying this to my highlighted areas is because with the translucent shade, it's basically going to make that place ashy if I don't apply, you know, something more of my shade to those areas. So basically just to darken it up a bit. So now, after applying this all over my face and my neck, I'm going to be taking a much smaller brush for precision, just so I could be able to reach under my eyes. And then after that, taking my Fenty Beauty contour shade in Mocha Mami, I'm going to be using this to contour my nose. Also going to be using this to contour my cheeks, my forehead, and under my jaw. So the way I always contour my nose, just to avoid that harsh line, I always go back in with a wet beauty blender. It doesn't even necessarily have to be wet, but it's still damp, you know, just to remove any harsh edges and so the shadows look very natural. And then here I'll be using my Too Faced primer to spray all over my face, just to set my makeup. So the name of this primer is the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer Spray. So to create this very intense glow, I'm going to be using the NYX Cosmetics Strobe of Genius palette. And how I basically do it is I spray my face with the primer. I wait for it to be almost dry, so not completely dry but almost dry, and then I apply the palette, like the shade, the highlighting shade, to the high points of my face. So with this, make sure it's like the part you're applying is almost dry. Like I made the mistake of applying the shade where it was still wet, so that's why I created that white spot. So then the next step I had was getting an expression extension. Imagine how cute this would have been if it actually worked out for me. Like I wanted it to this length, like literally I wanted to be extra that day, so I wanted it like to go beyond my bum, but yeah, also this is me literally lying to my friends that have left the house, and they kept saying you're lying. And you know, I tried basically convincing them that I've left the house already and I'm on my way and there's traffic. But anyways, yeah, so the problem with this is that it tangled all over. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So first, I'm just going to show you guys how I was planning on doing the ponytail. I was watching a YouTube tutorial on how they did it, and what they did is that they wrapped their hair in a bun. So they started out by twisting the hair and wrapping it in a bun, and then the girl basically brushed out the hair, but mine was a mess. It kept tangling all over the place. I don't know how they did it. I literally, now the hair is wasted. I have to get another one because I've always loved that bun look, but sorry, that ponytail look. So yeah, I tried, like I managed to get it, you know, to a certain point, like braided to a certain point, but when it got to the end, it was way too tangled that it was like, you know what. And then my friends, like coupled with the intensity of my friends calling me and asking me where I was, that everyone is already at the place, so I just left it and just took my hair, like, you know, my natural hair like that. And then for my lips and mascara, I just did everything in the car. For my lips, I used the NYX Cosmetics Addis Ababa, like that's the shade Addis Ababa. And for mascara, I used the Maybelline Big Shot Mascara.
You're a camera woman today.
I'm sorry. No, nice.
Wait, is this recording? What's going on? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh. You sure I beg now? Actually, you know what? When I'm drowning my lime and glory. Harry, do you want to be my YouTube video? YouTube. Years. Yeah, we're in the mirror. Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Chisholm, your worst nightmare. Okay. Okay, this looks horrible. Why do I look like an old lady? Why does it? Oh. Okay, it's stuck, Michelle. Oh my. Oh.
Leave Michelle out.
Okay.
I don't know. She just calls my name.
Legs are hurting. I don't know how these YouTubers and Instagram. That's what I'm trying to do. You know.